right, good morning everyone and welcome to day 26 of our 28-day challenge. Start your day with movement. All you need today is your mat and some open space. So let's get moving. We're going to start on our hands and knees today. Our goal here is to do all of our neck exercises on a quadruped position. So when you're lying down on your back, you have gravity that helps you move through your range of motion. And when you're on your hands and knees, you're actually going against gravity. So it's kind of like adding resistance to your neck exercises. So start on your hands and knees, wrists directly below shoulders. Remember, elbow creases facing each other. Spread those fingers out on the floor. And we're going to do our retraction and protraction. So you're going to let your chin dip down towards the floor. Then you're going to pull your chin up like if you're giving yourself a double chin. And then let your chin drop down towards the floor and then pull it back in without letting your head pass your shoulders. So instead, you're really trying to pull the chin back to your spine. So forwards, let that chin stick out and then tuck the chin in without shrugging the shoulders. Really trying to make your neck nice and long. Let's do 3 more. 2 more. Really give yourself a double chin. And 1 more. Beautiful. This time you're going to keep your chin tucked in and you're just going to try to look left and right, but always keeping your head at the same height as your spine. So don't let it dip down below and don't let your chin up high. Try to keep a nice straight line. Make sure your ribs are stacked above your pelvis so you're not in an excessive arch. You're keeping a nice neutral spine. Keeping that chin tucked in and just rotating left to right. Always trying to keep that chin tucked in. Make sure you're breathing in whatever pattern feels appropriate. Make sure the chin is still tucked in. You're still in a neutral spine. You're still pushing the floor away. Elbow creases are still facing each other. And you're trying to get that chin as close to collarbone as possible. Excellent. Last one here. We're going to go side bend. So the idea here is that you're going to keep your chin tucked in, all the other points from your quadruped position, and then you're going to try to bring your head down towards your ear down towards your shoulder, back up, and side bend the other way. So if you find a spot on your mat to look at when you're doing your side bends, your goal here is to not side bend and rotate. Your goal is to keep your nose always pointing towards the same spot, and you're doing your side bends in your quadruped position, but always having your nose pointed at that same spot on the floor. So keep the chin tucked in. Really work at side bending as much as you can from side to side. Make sure your jaw is nice and relaxed. No shoulder movement. Let's do 1 more each side. Beautiful. Moving down to our shoulders, you're going to shrug, come back to neutral, and pull down. So just work your way through the shrugging motion and the pulling down motion. Always trying to keep a nice neutral spine, so don't let your belly button sink down to the floor. Keep pushing the floor away as you do your shrug, neutral, and pull down. You should feel your shoulder blades glide along your ribs. If you've got a lot of shoulder issue, being able to control your scapula or your shoulder blade is super important. Excellent. This time you're going to retract and protract. So you're going to dip your chest down towards the floor, bring the shoulder blades together, and then push the floor away and pull your shoulder blades apart. Try to keep your head nice and neutral. I always tell people to imagine they're holding an egg underneath their chin as they're making their way through their shoulder blade movements. Two more. Beautiful. Now you're going to try to combine the 4 movements together. We're going to try it off the floor. The idea is that you would make a shoulder circle with your shoulder and your shoulder blade. So arm down by your side is the easiest version. Once you have that figured out, you can try putting your hands in front of you and trying to draw your circles. So notice how my ribs aren't moving. I'm really isolating my shoulder blade movement with my shoulder girdle. Once you have it figured out on off the floor, I'm going to challenge you to do the same movements on the floor. So you're going to go back to your hand and knee position if you're capable. And then you're just going to draw your circles. Remember that we're still holding the egg underneath our chin. And we're trying to keep our ribs stacked above our pelvis. Drawing our circles. If you really can't figure it out on the floor, don't be shy to go back onto your knees and do this in the air. Reverse. Beautiful. Now you're going to stay in your hand and knee position, and we're going to do our pelvic tilts on our hands and knees. So imagine you have a pencil on your tailbone, and your goal here is to paint a straight line on the wall behind you. So now I'm in a anterior pelvic tilt. Then I'm going to rock my pelvic down, so pulling my tailbone down towards the floor, drawing a line down towards the floor. So here you're trying to just move your pelvis. Try to keep your ribs as still as possible. And trying to draw that straight line with your tailbone from floor to ceiling. Make your line as big as possible without moving the ribs. Excellent. Come to find neutral. Now you're going to do the same thing, arching and rounding your back with just your ribs. So you're going to push the floor away, try to round your upper back as much as possible. Try not to move the pelvis, and then arch the back. So when you're arching the back, think about letting your chest come down towards the floor, and think about spreading or opening up that chest. So fingertips are still pointing forwards, elbow creases are still facing each other, and you're going to try to round and arch just your ribs. So if it helps, try to draw your line with your nose. Really looking at controlling our ribs. Now you're going to combine the two together. So you're going to do your traditional cat-cow. You're going to round your back as much as you can. Point your tailbone down towards the floor. Bring your nose to your belly button, and then reverse. So now you're drawing your lines up to the ceiling with both your nose and your tailbone. Now draw your lines down towards the floor. Remember to keep breathing as you're moving your way through your cat-cow. Pay attention to what areas feel tight. Take note of it so you can, after these sessions, go spend a little bit more time on those spots that feel a little bit tighter. Excellent. This time we're going to draw the letter C. So if I show you in this motion, you're going to try to side bend. So you're going to try to pull your hip and your shoulder to meet at the middle, come back up, and then pull your shoulder and hip to meet at the middle and come back up. But we're still going to do that in our hand and knee position. So tuck the chin in, push the floor away. You're going to draw a horizontal line this time with your tailbone, and then try to crunch the shoulder down. You should feel a nice stretch, opening up the side of your body, and come back to the middle. And side bend, draw a horizontal line to the right side of the room as you crunch your right shoulder and right hip together, and come back. So just slowly and in a controlled fashion, making up words this morning. Side bend from side to side. Go at whatever speed feels good to you today, as long as you're giving yourself a nice movement flow between the two. Again, paying attention to what feels good, what doesn't feel as good, taking note of it so you can spend a little bit more time on it. Come back to neutral. Tuck those toes under. You're going to come sit on your toes, and we're going to do our arm circles at the same time. I'm going to do two things at once. So make sure that your heels are pointed towards each other and you're not letting your feet roll out to the side. So really get that big toe involved in your stretch. Make sure your ribs are stacked above your pelvis. Make a fist. Left draw a really big circle up and around. And then reverse your circle on the way up. So try to keep your shoulder down and away from your ear. Try not to move your head as you're rolling through your arm circles. Let's do one more. Make sure those ribs are still stacked above the pelvis. Big circles. Beautiful. And switch. So I'm still sitting on my toes. I'm keeping my arm nice and straight and tight. I'm trying to get my bicep as close to my ear as possible, as far behind me as possible without leaning or rotating my body. Same thing on the way back. Imagine that you're drawing a big circle on a wall and you can't lean against or away from the wall. 2 more. Big circle. Come back. 1 more. Big circle. Our goal today is just to move all of our joints and come back. Excellent. You're gonna go back to your hands and knees. You're gonna go palms on the floor, fingertips towards your knees, and you're gonna just rock forwards and backwards to start. Remember, adjust the distance of your hands to your knees based on how your forearms and hands are feeling today. You want it to be a comfortable stretch and not a painful one. And we're not holding the stretch, we're just trying to move and see what end range we can get to safely with all of our joints. On the way back, try to really focus on pushing yourself back, so you're really working on strengthening that end range of motion. So I'm pushing with my fingers and my palms to kind of pull myself back forwards. This time, sit back. Try to go up onto your knuckles, so your fingertips stay on the floor, then drop your palms again, and come up and down 5 times. That's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Turn your fingertips to 3 and 9 o'clock. The closer your hands are together, the harder it is. And then you're just going to gently push yourself from side to side. My fingers are still spread on the floor, making my fingers as long as possible. And I'm actually actively pushing myself from side to side instead of just swinging, so that I'm activating all those muscles. Beautiful. This time you're going to go fingers still at 3 and 9 o'clock, but back of your hand on the floor. And this time you're going to, same thing, gently rock from side to side. Most people are nervous with their hands upside down on the floor, so just take your time, even if you're just moving a little bit or you're just kind of hanging out trying to figure out what it feels like to have your weight on the back of your hands in this position. Play around with it, find different angles, see what feels comfortable, what doesn't feel comfortable. Flip your hands so that your fingertips are pointing forwards. Remember, you always want your index to be straight up and down. And then you're going to push yourself front to back, really focusing on pushing yourself forwards and backwards. You want to have control. This time I'm going to challenge you to lean really as far forwards as you can. Hold, 3, 2, 1, and push yourself back. And lean as far forwards as you can. Hold, 3, 2, 1, and push yourself back. 1 more. Lean as far forwards as you can, so you're really loading those hands and wrists. Hold, 3, 2, 1, and push yourself back. Flip your hands over. Just move around side to side. And then let's make some fists. We're going to do 6. Squeeze, hold, and let go. 1. Squeeze, hold, and let go. That's 2. Squeeze, hold, 3. Squeeze, hold, 4. Squeeze, hold, 5. Squeeze, hold, and 6. Excellent. Bring yourself back onto a hand and knee position. We're going to go up into our downward dog, and then we're going to swing our leg through into a pigeon stretch. So push the floor away, tuck your toes under, bum up in the air. Try to drive your heels
towards the floor and actively push the floor away. Take some nice big deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. Breathe in and out. Bring your right leg up towards the ceiling. Then bend your knee, let it roll up to the left. Try to open up that right hip and right oblique. Those of you who have hyperextended knees like me, don't let it hang out on the end. Keep it slightly bent. Swing that right leg through into your pigeon, and then adjust your pigeon stretch to whatever feels comfortable, and like a nice stretch, and then move around in there. Remember, your goal is to try to get your front leg as close to 90 degrees as possible. And then we're going to keep our back knee off the floor, so you feel a little bit of an extra stretch in the back of your left hip. You're gonna fold forwards and come back up. Only go to a range of motion that feels good for you today. This is 2 of 5. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth in whatever pattern feels comfortable. 4 and 5. Beautiful. You're gonna support yourself on your hands, swing that right leg back, go up into your downward dog. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. This time, left leg up. Bend your knee. Let your left leg roll out to the right. And swing that left leg in to your pigeon stretch. Adjust your position so that you get an appropriate stretch for you today. Just move around in there. Once you find a nice spot that feels good to stretch, just kind of go in and out at that same angle. And then straighten that back knee so it's off the floor if possible. Try to keep your big toe on the floor. Don't let your ankle roll out. And fold forward and come back up. That's 1. 2, when you come back up, think about pulling your chest up to the ceiling, stretch out those hip flexors. 3. 4. And 5. Support yourself on your hands, swing that left leg back into your downward dog. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Bring that right knee forward into a long lunge position. We're going to do the greatest stretch. So it's rotation up to the ceiling, and then on the way down, start with my right hand. On the way down, I'm going to try to drop my elbow and my hips towards the floor. We're going to do 4 of those, and then we're going to drop our back knee and do our quad stretch. So both hands on the inside of your right leg. Take your right hand, rotate up to the ceiling, then drop your elbow and your hips down towards the floor. That's 1. Remember to take some nice big deep breaths. 2, 3, and 4. Place both your hands on the floor, drop your back knee, try to grab your toes. If ever this isn't doable for you today, just come back up into a half kneel position. Remember to tuck your tailbone under, squeeze your bum. If you feel a stretch here, great. If you don't, then in this position, try to grab onto your knee. No matter what position you're in, really work on pelvic tilting. So think about pulling your belt buckle to your nose or pulling your tailbone down towards the floor, squeezing your bum. Take a deep breath in and out. Bring your back foot back onto the floor. Go up into a high plank position and switch legs. So left leg in front now. Left arm, rotate up to the ceiling. Rotate down, drop elbow and hips, and come back up. That's 1. 2. Remember, you can always go up into a half kneel position instead. Take a deep breath in and out. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Beautiful. Bring that left leg back. Go onto your hands and knees. Sit back on your heels into your child's pose. You could always have your knees apart or together. If you're having some pinching in your hips, adjust the angle of your knees. Really reach as far forwards as you can. And really focus on trying to breathe into your back. Really looking for a 3-dimensional breath. In through your nose and out through your mouth. Breathe in and out. 2 more. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Beautiful. Thank you for joining me again today for a 20-minute movement flow. I hope you enjoyed our session. I will be back tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. on the Fitness Lab page. We are almost done our 28-day challenge. I hope you guys are seeing the benefits of moving your body absolutely every single day. Keep doing it. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, everyone.